Sling TV has something for everyone. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. But no matter what you're looking for, you can watch it with Sling. Sports, news, and today's hottest shows. Plus, you can explore thousands of movies and shows on demand. And getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. Stream on any device and record up to 50 hours with your included DVR space. Plus, you won't get locked into a long-term contract. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today. Welcome to the Andy Staples Show, presented by Sling. It's another 2 people in person, 1 person remote episode, only this time it is Ari and Nicole at the college football playoff meeting where they're trying to logistically figure out if they can get this thing started by 2024. And I am back home. But the good thing about them being together, we were going to pick games. We got lots of games to pick, but Nicole has to pay off a bet first. This goes back to UCLA and Washington, and she hates cottage cheese. You guys are muted, so you're probably going to want to unmute to talk to me.
All right. Guys. It's our first time with a computer, so
beautiful.
Yes, but hello, greetings from the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. We are thriving.
I just can't wait to be a part of the bet payoff where I'm next to the person suffering. So we got the full fat cottage cheese. We figured you're only going to take 1 spoonful. So we wanted it to be as pleasant as possible from a flavor standpoint. But Nicole, I think the most important thing we need to do is show the spoon options and see what Andy has to say about that. So that's all the first spoon.
Okay. Here, wait.
That's a soup ladle.
Side. Yeah, so
that's not a spoon.
The size of my head. Okay.
Yeah, not a spoon. Disqualified. That's a mixing spoon. It's a spoon.
It's a spoon.
I'm thinking about it. Okay, that nice, medium sized.
I think that's a serving spoon.
It's a serving spoon, right? It's more than a teaspoon.
It's what you would put in like mashed potatoes at
more
Thanksgiving.
More than a tablespoon. There's a tablespoon. Okay.
Yep. These are the options.
So I'm wondering.
Serving spoon. Option 3. It's the third. It's the second smallest.
You do not get to choose. I get to choose.
Wait, no. I think what we need to do is come up with some sort of game where if we ask her a trivia question or something, that she is penalized with the spoon size. But we'll take the 2 wooden spoons off because we like you. Okay, those are out. Okay,
I think those are patently unfair. So I'm glad.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure we had options.
Ari's been sending me threatening photos of wooden spoons all week.
You can't report those because people will be like, what does it mean? He's sending you spoons? What does that mean? You guys are muted again.
Can I just pick the small spoon?
Yes, pick the small spoon, because if it's anything like me and the mayo, the spoon size doesn't matter. If you just hate it and you have a visceral reaction, it won't matter.
Now the thing about the size of this, you got to cover the spoon.
Okay,
like none of that.
Like,
what is that?
Texture.
What's that right there? That's a lot of unused land.
It's the texture is terrible. Oh my god. Ew.
Okay.
I just want Greg Sankey and Jim Phillips and Kevin Warren to walk out. And
I'm gonna let Ari feed it to me.
Do you want me to feed it to you?
Okay. But I'm not gonna have it all in one scoop.
You're going all in. This 1 scoop.
This could be terrible. Oh, she's gagging. She's gagging. No. Oh, this is like me with the mayo.
Take this away from me.
See,
she's actually suffering.
I know. It's like me with mayo. It doesn't matter. Like when your body decides it doesn't want something, there's nothing you can do about it. Like cottage cheese for me, not something I'd seek out, but I could always
Stop staring at me. I want to
vomit. Hey, isn't that Bob Bowlesby? Did he come say hi to his old friends?
So I guess like the entire point of this like spoon size was kind of funny, but she only took a bite out of the front of it and it tortured her. So I think that's sufficient.
Oh,
when I fed her, I wanted her to eat the whole thing. I wanted her to like jump all the way in the back. But based on that reaction, that was like an Andy Mayo like reaction. Yeah. So
when really your body doesn't want it, you're done. It's over.
Can't handle the texture. That is disgusting.
But the taste is fine, right?
The taste is like fine, but it's a texture. Like that's the gag reflex. Like it's like these little chunks of
cheese,
like bad cheese, right? Isn't it like cheese curds essentially?
Yeah, it's
there's
not
no such
going
thing as
well
bad
for that
cheese.
cheese.
I can't do anymore. I can't do anymore.
No,
I've
no,
suffered.
it's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, you did it. You paid your bet.
You have been punished for believing in the Huskies over Chip Kelly's rolling death machine that he's created in Westwood. So it is wow. Actually, since we're already talking about that, I think it is time for what to watch for presented by Sling. And the what to watch for game is on Fox. It is Oregon and UCLA. And the Ducks are favored in this game. So
I think we should let Nicole talk about UCLA. She earned that.
Yes. Talk
I am
about how
all
much
in.
you love UCLA and how much you believe in the Bruins.
I fully believe in the Bruins. Love UCLA. I actually put them on. I did a list, which if any of our listeners, you guys are obviously great college football fans, and also maybe your team is disappointing you or whatever. I made a list of teams that if you're looking for a second half team that's fun, you could adopt them. If you want to get emotionally invested in another team that's entertaining and fun, UCLA is one of the teams that I picked. Like, this is a very fun offense. I love the DTR, Jake Bobo, Zach Charbonnet combo. But yes, I did learn after that game. I still taste the cottage cheese in my mouth, like it's in the back of my throat.
Texture's
never leaving.
No, I know, but I can feel the texture. Like I can feel the chunks of cottage cheese in the back of my throat.
For later episodes. What if we just make Nicole do the same bet over and over and over again?
Absolutely not. How do I get the Taco Bell bet? Or the,
Well,
wait, the,
you had
the
a
pedicure
chance,
one.
but you chose correctly. You chose Michigan, Homer.
We did, Ari and I texted during that game, Andy, and we were like, wow, that was the easiest bet we've made in a long time.
I still think that Andy chose Penn State on purpose. I'm going to go to my deathbed thinking.
How does he continue to have bets that are like that and getting a pedicure? We need to vet these a little bit better. But no, I like UCLA. I think this is a really great game. This goes to, we've talked about this on the show about the Pac-12 being stronger and deeper than it's been in recent years. This is a great example of that. And I just think it's going to be really, really fun. Oregon's been a much better team since week 1. And like, there's going to be some offensive fireworks in this one.
Yeah, I really like the way UCLA is built. It's kind of similar to Michigan. Zach Charbonnet probably feels like it's a pretty familiar situation, him coming from Michigan and being at UCLA now. But it is, they will get after you on the ground, but Jake Bobo has really opened up that offense. He gives them somebody on the outside that you've got to really worry about. And I think when you have to load the box as much as you have to do to deal with Charbonnet and Dorian Thompson-Robinson running, it makes it very difficult to defend. They're getting 6 points here. I am tempted to take UCLA here. I think I'm going to take UCLA here I don't know if they're going to win outright, but I feel good about them covering with 6.
Yeah, my number one fear always when it comes to this stuff, guys, is that we're always very prisoner of the moment with everything, and not just the three of us, everyone. And, you think one thing one week, and then the exact opposite happens the next week. And I really like everything that you guys both said about UCLA. In fact, it seems like they're more diverse offensively and more physical offensively than they've been. And you like to think that this is the culmination of what the mad scientist, Chip Kelly has been building there. But how good is, like, we're so focused on talking about UCLA and the fun run that they're having. How good is Oregon?
Well, this will help tell us that, because like Noah Sewell, for example, might have been designed in a lab to deal with an offense like this. He's not been as dominant this season as he's been in other seasons, but you're talking about a 260-pound linebacker who can play sideline to sideline. Like, this is, and
you have that one player that can blow up the entire offensive philosophy.
Yes. This is the type of person designed to deal with this offense. And, we talked about UCLA having a diverse but physical offense. So does Oregon. So
yeah,
Oregon's going to do the same thing to that UCLA defense that UCLA is doing to everybody else.
We're so focused on what happened to Oregon against Georgia. And it's like, if that game didn't exist like it does every other year, then I think we might not be thinking this, right?
I feel like if that game got played now, it would not be the way that it went. And I just think about how differently we would see maybe both of those teams. I mean, I think Georgia's a good team, but we thought coming out of that game that they weren't going to give up a single point this season, right? Like we thought it was going to be just incredibly lopsided games. And we thought that Oregon was really not good. Like both of these teams are obviously not as good or as bad as they were in that game. And I just think that it would be played differently and we would be talking about Oregon so differently without that. I mean, coming out the BYU game when that was kind of their coming out party of like, no, this is a good football team. But this is a massive one, I think, for both teams. I'm riding with my Bruins. I've learned my lesson. So I will go down with
Oregon
that
covers, I'm going to fly to Chicago and feed you more of that next week.
Absolutely not. We are not repeating bets. We just decided this.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat the Taco Bell bet either. We're going to pick a different restaurant that we eat $30 worth of food from. So.
Next time he gets a hand massage with some hot wax and manicure. That's his punishment. And I get to walk into traffic. That's the way it works.
Exactly. All right, I've got a spread and an over-under here presented by our friends at BetMGM, and I had to go on the BetMGM app right before we recorded this here on Thursday afternoon to look because this line is moved, and it's moved in a direction I didn't see it moving, but Iowa now a 30.5-point underdog at Ohio State. The number on this game is still 49.5.
So they're just taking points away from Iowa.
Right, exactly. They've left the total the same, yet removed a point from Iowa. We've talked to Scott Docterman. We tortured Scott Docterman on this show, making him talk about Iowa's offense. But how bad is this going to be with them playing against Ohio State's defense?
Go ahead, Miss Big Ten Network.
Okay. Is this microphone on?
It's the right side, yeah.
Oh, this thing is on, yes.
Yeah, just right here.
Okay. All right, I see it now. Okay, we're just having a lot of technical difficulties over here. I'm still trying to recover from the cottage cheese, which of course you made me do at the beginning of the show, so I'm very distracted. So I think that Ohio State is a very good football team. They have not I'm interested in this game because of Iowa's defense. Like it's going to be interesting to see if Ohio State is fully healthy or healthier than they've been. And also just what CJ Stroud looks like under a little bit of pressure or a lot of pressure. I mean, we haven't seen this. Like we're looking for moments where Ohio State has been tested. And as it turns out, that Notre Dame game was not really a good example of anything. So we're still have some questions about them. But this is a great offense. They have a bunch of different weapons. They've won a bunch of different games. They've kind of picked, different guys to feature who are going to beat you, tight ends, running backs, receivers, whatever. They're going to be able to cover this, I think. The question is, is Ohio State is Iowa going to score? And we say this every week, but it's like if the defense doesn't literally score itself, I don't know. I don't know how many points that they are going to get. They have 4 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, and a couple of safeties in the first game.
And a couple of safeties. So, again, we're still waiting to see exactly where this Ohio State defense has improved. It's played well so far, but this isn't going to be a good measuring stick at all because, Iowa's going to really struggle. So I don't know how many they're going to score. I don't know if it's going to be double digits, but I do think that Ohio State can cover.
My fear here,
I like this spread as it's getting up. If it gets up over to 31, I kind of like that. Now, listen.
You mean like Iowa? Cover at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting to the point now where this is like a group of 5 spread, and
it is,
and I think that if you've watched Ohio State, CJ Stroud threw a pick 6 on a miscommunication with a young wide receiver in the Michigan State game. They muffed a punt against Rutgers at the beginning of the year. This is a team that has been at times susceptible to making bonehead mistakes. Now, I think I've read their last 38 drives, they've scored offensive touchdowns on 30 of them. But how much, when we talk all week, every week about how awesome Iowa's defense is, is Iowa's defense, how many, if they have 10 drives, how many stops does Iowa get?
Okay, here's my fear on this. There are some offenses that are so good that it doesn't matter how good the defense is.
I know, but if it is a good defense, 3 out of 10 possessions are stops. That's really
7 touchdowns. That's 49 points.
Yeah, but I think kicking a field goal is not a stop, is it?
Also, remember, Iowa's offense is going to put Ohio State's offense in some good spots.
Absolutely. Although Torrey Taylor, great punter, first team All-American.
You got to get to 4th down to punt, Nicole. That's what I'm worried about.
That's true. I think Ohio State is going to be able to do what they want. I think that there's just not, again, unless you get defensive points, I'm just not sure where Iowa is getting points.
I'm against you guys on this one. I think this.
You're muted again, Ari. I'm sure you said something amazing right there.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we had the local recording because my thing keeps stopping for some reason. I'm against you guys on this. I think that this spread is a little bit too much. And every single time we come into a football game saying, how on earth is this team going to score? I mean, they score. Like when we covered the Alabama A&M game, I was like, how is A&M going to score a point? And they scored what was the final score? I mean, they scored 4 touchdowns.
Alabama kept giving them the ball in good field position. That's how they
did. That's right. I know. But Iowa's defense scores a touchdown every week. Like, I mean, I know Ohio State is good, but like, I think in order for them to cover the spread, they have to win 49-0 or 35-0. And maybe that'll happen. But I don't know if it's going to be a shutout.
I'm on Ohio State. Even if it goes up another point, I'm on Ohio State. Sorry.
31.5. I don't know.
Same. I'm with you, Andy.
Yeah, I don't have – I think Iowa's defense, as good as they've been, won't be good against this offense. But we're going to move on to the ACC. When we come back, we're going to talk about a matchup of undefeated teams in the ACC. And I'm not sure the one that's not usually undefeated is a flash in the pan this year. I think they're pretty good. And I think this could be one of the more fun games of the season. We will talk Clemson, Syracuse when we come back. Sling has something for everyone. All your favorite shows on your favorite channels, all right at your fingertips. What you watch is up to you. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. So if you're looking for sports, Sling's got you covered with pro and college football and basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, racing, and so much more. Sling also has reality TV, so you can keep up with the latest gossip on today's hottest shows on channels like TLC, Bravo, MTV, and more. And don't forget about news. Get up to date with today's most trusted sources like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. Feeling adventurous? Explore thousands of movies and shows on demand. So what kind of mood are you in? No matter your answer, Sling has what you need. And getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. You can stream on any device and record up to 50 hours on your included DVR space. And the best part is you can pause or customize your subscription at any time. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today. Reserve Bar is your online source for premium luxury spirits, wine, and champagne. And now, Reserve Bar offers same-day delivery. Reserve Bar has a vast lineup of rare and hard-to-find bottles, premium brands, celebrity spirits, and limited releases that you just won't find at your local store. So when you get that gift for a person, they can't find it, you found it. You don't have to tell them where, but I think you should. It was Reserve Bar. And no one does spirits gifting better than Reserve Bar. Looking for an elevated gift? ReserveBar.com has you covered. And you can have that gift delivered right to their door. You can also get it engraved, perfect for birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, you name it. Also, if you're doing the home bartending thing, they've got everything, glassware, barware, all the stuff you're going to need. Or if you don't feel like mixing it up yourself, they've got a bunch of ready-to-drink cocktails, huge collection, canned cocktails, great for parties when you don't have time to tend the bar. And of course, they're perfect for tailgating season. Visit reservebar.com today and use the promo code Andy to save $10 on your first purchase of $75 or more on spirits, wine, or pre-made cocktails, but only when you use our special offer at reservebar.com with code Andy. That's reservebar.com, code Andy. This offer expires December 31st, 2022. Reservebar.com, and the code is Andy. Welcome back. So we got to talk ACC. Battle of the undefeateds, Clemson and Syracuse. Syracuse is a 13.5-point dog going down to Clemson. Syracuse played a very close game against Clemson last year and wasn't nearly this good. Now, Clemson probably wasn't nearly as good either. But historically, this series has been pretty interesting. I mean, 2018, Chase Bryce has to come in and basically save Clemson with a miracle fourth down pass. 2017, Syracuse wins on a Friday night. So I had Dabo Sweeney on a radio show on Wednesday, and he was very complimentary of what Syracuse has done. And one thing, guys, I love about Syracuse this year. Dino Babers is not one of those guys who like, this is my offense. We're just going to do this and we'll do this forever. He brings in Robert and I and Jason Beck after they leave Virginia, and they've incorporated so much cool physical stuff, and they've turned Garrett Schrader into this just touchdown machine. And it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And, Sean Tucker was one of the best running backs in the country last year that probably people are not paying attention to or watching. And Syracuse has been fortunate. I mean, they were gifted all the penalty yardage against Purdue in the final minute. And so, again, like there were moments where they could easily have not been undefeated here. I want to talk a little bit about Clemson, though, because I feel like they are weirdly underrated, which is wild to say about a top 5 team. They've been in the top 5 the entire season, and no one is talking about them.
There's no juice.
Well, there is juice if you watch them.
No, there's no juice about them.
There's no juice about them. And like, obviously we all watched the shootout against Wake Forest. So we were like, all right, well, the defense, blah, blah, blah. The defense is okay. It's been fine.
And they had guys hurt in the secondary that game.
Yeah, but it's not the same, as it always was, and Brent Venables isn't there. But DJ Uiagalelei has played really well this season, and I don't think people realize that. They still think that he is a problem. The Cade Klubnik conversation went away entirely. Dabo stuck with DJ, and he was correct in that. And it's working. And I think, too, we were talking about this on Power Hour earlier this week with Grace Rayner. They're really good in the middle 8, those 4 minutes at the end of the first half and the 4 minutes after halftime. So there's been games where there were sluggish start, or you look at the score, you watch a little bit in the first half, and it's not, kind of unimpressive. Or even if you look at the final score, Florida State's comeback at the end of the last game or whatever, right? You're like, they're like, okay. No, they've actually been really good at pulling away from teams, and the games are over in that middle 8 period. So anyway, I just think that we're weirdly not talking about Clemson, which is shocking because they've got a very clear path to the playoff and to an ACC championship.
Yeah, and Will Shipley is such a weapon for them. Travis Etienne had to learn to catch the ball out of the backfield. It wasn't something that he had done coming out of high school. Will Shipley was kind of an all-purpose back from the get-go. And so he's learning to be better as a runner in college. And I don't know that he'll ever be as good of a runner as Travis Etienne was, but that is a very high bar.
Well, here's the thing, guys, and I'm going to just say it. If Georgia was playing Syracuse, what would the spread?
I think it'd be probably similar to this, maybe 17, maybe a little higher.
Yeah, I think it's possible that like the spread would be like 27.
I don't think so.
I think we're going to do AirPods now because this mic
okay.
keeps unplugging. Can you hear us okay?
I can.
Well,
okay.
Which audio? What are we doing? We're having a lot of difficulty.
We're having difficulty.
You sound wonderful, everybody. I'm happy here.
All that matters is we're going to use the StreamYard, right?
Okay.
So if that's the case, then let's just get rid of this because it keeps.
I hope we keep this in the audio version of the show. I do love that our live stream viewers get to watch us create magic on the fly here.
But now we can just be a little bit more relaxed.
That's true.
This,
that's
weird,
true.
This mic because I'm
it kept unplugging.
So the thing that I think is the most interesting about this is that one, if you watch the Georgia Tech game, which everybody in America did, you saw, and this isn't fair, but you saw what disaster mode of Clemson looks like. And I think that we're all kind of in that intersection, and Andy is way past it because he thinks that's over with, that's done. But like I'm like sitting there every week waiting for Clemson's offense to go 3 quarters looking like completely inept. And maybe that's not fair. But like this 13.5-point spread, maybe that's because people are giving a lot of credit to Syracuse, and rightfully so because they're 7-0. But like this team is not a national title contender, right? Syracuse.
No, I don't think so.
They're getting 13.5 points against the top 5 team. That means there is some deficiencies, both or either in the way that we view Clemson.
What do you think that the spread would be for Georgia then?
27.5, 30.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think it'd be like 15. Syracuse is a good team. Syracuse is, and also the way Syracuse plays.
More like 20.
I think it'd be way more than 15.
I don't know. And you guys are just SEC homers. That's all there is to it.
I've been
like calling somebody else
confused of like I've had these comments on my stories. I'm not going to read Ari anymore because he left Big Ten country and let Andy Staples.
It's because you did the road trip.
No,
I've poisoned your mind.
poisoned my mind into being an SEC lackey, and I sold my soul to climb the corporate ladder. And
That's exactly what I think of when I think of Ari Wasser.
Yes, me and every NFL general manager over the past 20 years has.
When I lived in Columbus, I never
poisoned
thought
your
that
mind.
Alabama was any good. Yeah, but it's funny because there's something off with Clemson, and I don't know what it is. There is something off. I'm telling you, they're not going to win the national title.
So you say this. This is what I say about Clemson. They're going to win this game, and it may be close. Syracuse may even cover. They're going to win this game, and we're going to forget about them. And they're going to keep winning. And
they're going to go undefeated, win the ACC,
beat
and
a
make
bad
the playoff.
Coastal champ in the championship.
We've already forgotten about them. We don't talk about them.
And they're going to be in a semi.
Florida State by 6.
They're going to be in a semi against the SEC champ or Ohio State or somebody.
And then they're going to get their doors blown off.
No. That
They'll play them better than everyone thinks because no one's been watching Clemson.
Yeah, that team's going to flip the tape on, and they're going to go Tyler Davis, Brian Bresee, KJ Henry, Xavier Thomas, Miles. Oh my God! That's what they're going to say.
Is DJ a first-round draft pick all of a sudden?
No,
but he doesn't have to be. He's much better. He's just like a much better quarterback.
Physical attributes. What is he? 6'5". He weighs 240 pounds and can throw the ball 100 yards. That's like the better version of Jamarcus Russell if he would have watched tape, right?
Another season of this, and he's probably a first-round draft pick.
Yeah. So if he plays if he's playing at a level where he's like headed toward back to first-round pick territory, then I guess I could buy it. But they don't have the same dynamic receivers that they had, like the Justin Rosses of the world and Sammy Watkins going back a while ago. Like, who's their most dynamic receiver? Do we even know? I'm just
Joseph Ngata, probably. Bo Collins.
Good,
I think Bo Collins is probably the guy that you're most worried about.
T. Higgins was there?
Yeah, but Ngata was the guy who was carrying the torch from those guys. I think that's who they thought.
So that's who they thought was going to be the guy. So,
but yeah, I mean, T. Higgins and Justin Ross were on that team at the same time. I mean, they were
awesome.
Yeah, they were guys you just throw a bunch of 50-50 balls, deep balls. So I don't know.
They have one of the best defensive linemen in the country.
Yes, they do. And again,
I will point out that freshman Antonio Williams leading them in receptions and receiving yards, 24 catches for 334 yards. Now he's not averaging a huge amount, but he's given them another.
Their leading receiver has 330 yards.
They're winning games, Ari.
They are. Kind of. They are. Yeah.
Kind of. Yes, they're undefeated.
All right,
I'm
guys.
with you, Andy.
Let us go to the place that has poisoned Ari's mind, the SEC.
Homer.
SEC.
Ole Miss at LSU. Ari fell in love with Oxford during our time there, and who can blame him? But Ole Miss started this week as a 2-point favorite and is now a 2-point underdog in this game. I realized Jaden Daniels looked a lot better against Florida, and Ole Miss had a very bad time stopping Auburn's run game and let Auburn throw for some long third down conversions, which was kind of weird. Have we just bailed on Ole Miss? I'm not ready to bail on Ole Miss yet. Sorry.
Are you taking the points here?
Oh, I'll take Ole Miss in this one. Yeah.
The question I have is: has Ole Miss faced a team this year that presents the challenges in the middle of the defense that LSU does from just a pure bodies standpoint?
Kentucky has a very athletic defense, like Jordan Wright, Jaquez Jones. Like they've got guys at linebacker who are a problem. They've got more run stuffers up front, but LSU, like they lost.
Should they have won that game though? Right? Like, I mean, they could easily have lost that game.
But they did win that game.
But they did. I know. But what I'm saying is, I just think that Ole Miss's schedule is so backloaded that I can see why people would be jumping off the bandwagon a little bit, or at least a little bit hesitant about them in the second half. And listen, again, I put them as one of the fun teams that you should be watching in the second half because their games have been an adventure. They can run the ball. They're doing all these different things. But I do wonder because, you've got a bunch of games on the road. You got a bunch of games against ranked teams now. Like, this is where we actually learn if Ole Miss is good.
I think you're right. And I think this line is an overreaction to LSU beating Florida in Gainesville last week, and I'm not sure it needs to be. and probably an overreaction to how bad Ole Miss's defense was against Auburn. And let's not forget, Ole Miss went up 21-0 in that game. And then they kind of
the problem with this game is that you have multiple variables of uncertainty. One is Jaden Daniels actually going to throw the ball with confidence to the really good receivers? And is Ole Miss going to be able to run the ball in tight situations against an athletic LSU defense? And that's, to me, this is an unbettable game to me. I would never put my real money on this game. Maybe I'd wait till maybe live to see if I can get a touchdown from somebody. But, I one time this year bet an LSU game because the line didn't make any sense. And I thought that, well, there's no reason why would Tennessee only be a 3-point favorite at LSU? I bet LSU and I got my doors blown off. So I'm not going down this road again.
Well,
I was going to say that real quick. I would not pick any LSU game this year. LSU Florida was one of the scariest possible games to look at and try to have any sense of how the game is going to go. So I have been with you, Ari. I don't think that anyone should ever bet an LSU game this season. You just do not know what's going to happen with Jaden Daniels or just in general. Like, are they going to get blown out? Are they going to suddenly, kind of figure some stuff out and play a team hard? You just don't know.
I think Ole Miss wins outright. I just do. I think both performances last week that felt anomalous were anomalous. And that's, I think it's kind of back to what they normally are this week. But speaking of weird lines, I want to go to a what does Vegas know that we don't line. Texas is a 6.5-point favorite in Stillwater playing Oklahoma State. And would I be surprised if Texas won this game? No. But I'm surprised at this line.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen here, but everybody who looks at this line says, what the hell is Vegas doing? I'm going to take the points automatically. And anytime everybody automatically jumps to think the same exact thing, I get scared.
You say that every single time.
I feel like I don't like betting with the public. I think the public is going to be very much on Oklahoma State this week. And the public is wrong a lot, most of the time, because we're dumb.
This is true, but it's very tempting.
This is like totally, you would think that just based on all the narratives as it pertains to this game would be Oklahoma State always plays these types of games close. It's a very hard place to play. The fans are on top of you. Loss. Texas always loses these games historically. You're almost getting a touchdown.
Texas doesn't always lose these games because Oklahoma State is considered a good Big 12 team. So this is one they'd be up for, not one that they'd get shocked in.
And I also just think that this is a good football team. Like, I think Texas can be, again, we've seen the shakiness even with Quinn Ewers back, but like they can be a good football team. So they could cover this on the road against a good Oklahoma State team. Yeah. So wait, are we on the same side?
I think I like Texas in this game.
Same.
Even though it doesn't make sense. Because my heart.
Well, it's because you love Texas.
My heart says Oklahoma.
You mean Oklahoma State?
But my mind is like, this makes no sense mathematically, so fade the math.
We know how you feel about math.
I love that. It makes no sense, so we're going to go with it.
I've lost a lot of money in my life betting on things like this that make you feel like, and then the game happens, and it's like, what the hell was that?
I realize we're jumping around by conference, but I want to throw another one at you guys that I saw and was like, this doesn't make any sense either. Why is Purdue getting points at Wisconsin? Purdue's a 2.5-point underdog in this game.
Shocked by this line.
Wisconsin is back, baby. They got a new coach that they're going to hire.
They lost to Michigan State
last week.
They're back. They would have lost the Michigan State game in other regular years. Michigan State's awesome.
I cannot believe this is one of the worst brand name betting lines that I have seen all season.
It's crazy, right?
Purdue is, I've been saying this, they're a choose your own adventure team.
It's like a dysfunctional or awesome team, and it doesn't matter.
It's incredibly fun, but the game will come down to like the final minute, no matter who they're playing, whatever it is.
And that's why you're not quite getting a field goal in this game.
Which is fine, but like on paper and in actuality, they're a better team than Wisconsin and should be favored in this, but they've lost 15 straight. And again, I guess, people are overreacting maybe to what we saw against Northwestern. I think we've done this a few times this year. Everyone needs to stop overreacting to teams beating Northwestern. Like, people thought that meant Wisconsin had figured some stuff out. That was not true. I think then this is going to be trouble for them. But I guess it's because Purdue's played a lot of close games. The defense is better at times. And it's just been a wild, weird season for them where like they could be undefeated. They could also have 2 more losses. It has been a weird team, but they are better than Wisconsin on paper.
I'm telling you, I can't wait for the Purdue-Illinois game.
Are you being sarcastic? Because it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's the Big Ten West Championship game. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Nicole. I think Purdue's got this one too. This is the type of game where this is the exact opposite of what I was just saying, where most people be like, Wisconsin at home, Purdue sucks. But like if you actually are paying attention, Purdue's a pretty good football team. And
they also can run the ball and have run the ball, which is also a weird thing for a Jeff Brom offense. But like that's coming together. They can win the game in different ways, which is what I'm saying. And I just think Wisconsin's clearly got some deficiencies and some problems.
I'm with you, Purdue all the way.
All you have to ask yourself is, do you think Wisconsin, as currently constituted, is about the same as Minnesota minus Mo Ibrahim? Because that's what Purdue played and beat on the road. Playing that team style.
Do they jump around in Minneapolis?
They do not. You cannot hear the bolts in the stadium creaking.
Wow, what an SEC homer question.
Wow.
SEC homer.
You are a giant SEC homer.
Also, I hate Texas, apparently, and my wife went to A&M. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought them up, because when we come back, we're going to talk about Texas A&M and a game that could mean meltdown city in College Station. We'll be right back. So you've heard me talk about Rhoback quite a bit, but I got to tell you, my green Rhoback hoodie, probably the greatest garment ever. I mean, 1, it brings out my eyes. But 2, and I don't have any empirical evidence on this, but I'm pretty sure it made me a better athlete, because I was wearing this when I caught a pass in an SEC football game. And actually, it was fellow Rhoback endorser Will Anderson who caused the throw from Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King that went over the sideline, that hit off Texas A&M athletic director Ross Bjork's hand and landed in my left hand. That's right, left hand. One-handed catch in an SEC game. It has to be because of the Rhoback hoodie. Rhoback has the best hoodies, the best performance polos. They've got joggers now. They've got the everyday shorts, which you are going to wear every day. And again, I don't have empirical evidence on this, but anecdotally, they make you a great athlete. There's a reason that their slogan is crave activity. They make you better at being active. So here's what you're going to do to become a better athlete through Rhoback. Use the code Andy at Rhoback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off polos, Q-zips, hoodies, shorts, joggers with the code Andy. That's Rhoback.com, code Andy, and get ready to become elite. These days, every potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. You've already used LinkedIn to figure out how to connect to people. Now, use it to find the best job candidate. Add the job that you're hiring for and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile and spread the word fast that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and then figure out who you'd like to hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Andy. That's linkedin.com/Andy to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. linkedin.com/Andy. Welcome back. So the Aggies headed to South Carolina. Texas A&M is a 3-point favorite. When last we saw Texas A&M, they were on the goal line. Haynes King had just thrown me a pass, and they had a chance to beat Alabama. They did not. The last time we saw South Carolina, Shane Beamer is in his sunglasses and dancing after they beat a Will Levis-less Kentucky.
Will Levis-less. Say that 3 times fast.
Oh, Levis-less. Levis-less.
You can't even get two.
Levis-less.
Beautiful. So I have no idea what happens in this game. I really don't. I know that A&M looked good against South Carolina last year. Obviously, different teams, but South Carolina gave A&M a get-right game last year, essentially. But South Carolina in a much better place this year than when they played that game last year. This is fascinating to me because I think South Carolina is playing very well. If you quizzed a bunch of college football fans and said what's South Carolina's record, I don't think many of them would guess 4-2. Like, I don't know. A&M's the better team. They're the more talented team. The question is, how do they respond to that Alabama loss where they were right on the doorstep? It's
also the team that I think that you could trust the least in terms of what you're going to get. Like, I think when it comes to South Carolina, you know what you're going to get. You might get some weird turnovers, but the team has played rather consistently within the realm of who they are, whereas A&M against Alabama was able to capitalize and force some turnovers, score some points and put themselves in a position to win, but at the same time might not get a first down for 3 quarters. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is another one that's like you kind of nervous about picking either side. I kind of lean A&M because these are some of those games where you're like, they have to win, right? Like it's as close to a must win as you kind of have just for, your fan base not going off the ledge.
Here's what you could do. You could just bet A&M money line minus 160. And if they lose, at least you get to be entertained by what happens afterwards. Just like hedge your happiness a little bit.
Oh, it will be wild. You talked
fair.
about it on the last show, the 10-year contract. I mean, this will be the first one that just completely melts down with one of those contracts.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go 2 for 2 on 10-year contract meltdowns, but I am not in disaster mode with Texas A&M yet. My wife went there, obviously, so I'm a huge Aggie. And look at the color of my hoodie here. No, I think that if they lose this game, the entire temperament of how we view Jimbo Fisher changes. Like, I think the stakes of this game are actually really high. And like, I'm one of the last remaining, stay on board. The ship isn't sinking yet. The ship isn't sinking. If they lose to South Carolina, that's like a Titanic iceberg.
Or at least like the music playing, the
violins
are starting. But again, it's sort of like, what can you do? You can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is a different level of despair as well for fan bases. But I also think some of the thing when we talk about, like, maybe people don't realize, how South Carolina has played or the record. Again, it's sort of like we were talking about this earlier in the show, but you get trounced by Georgia and people remember that. It's a very memorable loss.
Like Oregon.
That was a real and right. And so I think that kind of shapes some of this as well about what it means to play South Carolina, who we're expecting to win. And everyone is sort of just also willing Texas A&M to actually live up to expectations, which obviously, like, the overall goals of the season are no longer there for them. But at some point they have to play well, right?
But expectations for this year were out of whack for A&M because people thought they had a chance to win the SEC. But the one thing I will say for sure is that
what people?
A lot of people thought that they were going to be in position to win after what they did. I was wrong.
No. I think people thought they could be the third best team in the SEC.
But even so, being the third best team in the SEC behind those two monsters is a really, really good football team. And I think
we
that
thought they'd be better than 8-4.
I think people allowed the recruiting class from last year to kind of leak into expectations on the field this year.
They should be better than 8-4.
But that's the point I'm going to make. In year 5, there's absolutely no chance that is acceptable in any way to lose to South Carolina. I don't care how well South Carolina is playing for who they are, the talent disparity between the two. If they lose this game, it's going to be because Texas A&M can't get a first down again.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. There's excuses. I mean, this team already lost to App State. So, like, it can get worse, I think. But year 5, losing on the road in a 3-point spread to South Carolina is one of those things that just, like, the water's on the boat now.
Well, Ari, maybe if they have trouble scoring, they play the kid, and that'll make you happy. So,
yeah, they'll play the kid. Hopefully, if the kid comes into the game, I'm going to get in my car and start driving towards South Carolina.
I think they'll be back in College Station by the time you get.
You can't just drive away from an actual child at your house.
Yeah, that's
she'll be fine.
You might get in trouble. Let's stay in the SEC. Head to Tuscaloosa. Mississippi State is a 3-touchdown underdog at Alabama. Does Alabama bounce back? Mississippi State has been a horrific matchup for Alabama, or Alabama has been a horrific matchup for Mississippi State in the Saban era. Mississippi State, Sylvester Croom won the first one. They haven't won since. And I have no faith that they're going to be able to move the ball after we just watched them get shut down by Kentucky.
Did Ralph Russo tweet the stat? Somebody tweeted the stat that when Alabama's coming off a loss and playing Mississippi State, their last 2 games, the average the score was 77-3 or something.
I would not want to play Alabama coming off a loss. First of all, also our friend Ralph Russo, friend of the pod, is physically here, and I have photos of the 2 of them embracing the frenemies, proof that they do get along. But yeah, no, I'm gonna take Alabama here.
Yeah, I don't think we really need to discuss that much more because history tells us what
21's
probably
a lot of
will
points.
happen.
And Mississippi State's not bad, but it's just
it's
a
lot.
terrible time to play them.
I think there's a little bit more to it than I'll just lay 21. But like I do think that I would not. I always say betting against Alabama is like betting against the Warriors in the NBA. It's like you might win a bet every now and then, but it's going to be awful watching it the whole time. So
exactly. All right, let's go to the Big 12. You saw TCU against Oklahoma State last week in person. K-State coming down. K-State getting 3.5 points. This is a really interesting game to me because I do feel like K-State can take some possessions out, can maybe get Max Duggan out of rhythm a little bit with some long drives. I kind of like the Wildcats in this one.
Is every Big 12 game between 2 above average opponents spread just automatically default to 3.5? Like I feel like every single
the one you were at yesterday was
3.5 last week. Yeah, it's 3.5 every time. I always worry about how much it took for a team to come back and win the Oklahoma State game last week, having enough left in the tank to have to do it again. And they might not have to come from behind, but the Big 12 is what word we use a lot, and I think it's really strange. We use it at work. We use it in terms of like how many stories you put up in the same hour or on the same topic, or you know what word I'm talking about? When every team eats at each other. Like everybody says cannibalizing. And I'm watching the show Dahmer on Netflix right now, and I don't think I'm going to use that word anymore.
I think
it's a weird word.
It's not a weird word. It actually makes sense.
I know. It's just like it's like is Kansas State literally going to eat TCU by putting it in a frying pan? I don't know.
But we know Adrian Martinez put steak in a blender just like me.
We do.
And
so
he was my inspiration for it.
That's carnivore, not cannibal. It's a different word.
True. I'm not going to put human in a blender. That's true.
Yes. So my story will not cannibalize another story, nor will the Big 12 cannibalize each other. But the entire idea of just like waiting for the other shoe to drop in the Big 12, like a team that's going to go undefeated every single year or every single week until the end of the season. It's like you are waiting for TCU to lose. And I think if TCU covers the spread or wins this game outright by even a point, we have to start adding them into the bulk of the conversations that we're having about the national picture that are going to begin next week.
I think that's probably fair. I'll also say that I thought that Oklahoma State might be a cut above the rest, right? I do think you're talking about just how the lines have been basically the same for all the good Big 12 teams when they play each other. I think that's pretty reflective of the fact that like these are all teams that feel very close to each other in terms of talent and execution wise. I think that TCU, this is a game where you say, are they a cut above everyone else? They just beat Oklahoma State. That's a good Oklahoma State team. We were just talking about them. And I think that Kansas State, I've also been looking at them a little bit differently based on the team they lost to. Tulane's a good football team. They got ranked for the first time since 1998. They are going to be a factor the roll wave. They're going to be a factor in the AAC race. So that kind of shifts about how I feel about them. We saw Adrian Martinez basically have 2 weeks of playing like games of his life, and he's been really good. So I'm with K-State on this as well. But Max Duggan has been awesome. He has been great as a runner. He's been a really special player, also playing better than he ever had in the course of his career. So TCU does kind of have a little bit of like magic in the bottle feel.
Yeah, that's right. Oklahoma State was a really good team.
You keep wanting to call them Oklahoma.
I don't know. It's been a long day.
That's a good way to make people in Stillwater hate you.
People definitely love when you get.
I was going to say Oklahoma State's a really good football team, and TCU did a lot of good things last week to win that football game. Chris Vanini is writing a really good story about Max Duggan. That's going to be running, I believe, next week or whenever it runs. It'll be good. Chris, who do you like in the Kansas State? He's sitting right here. Kansas State plus 3.5 at TCU or what? You laying 3?
I picked TCU.
He picked TCU. So, he's never lost a bet in his life. I'm going to go TCU too.
There we go. All right. We've got a couple more. We go now to Happy Valley. Penn State coming off getting de-pantsed by Michigan and allowing me to eat $30 worth of Taco Bell.
Allowing. That's how you know it was a bet that
Such
he
a
wanted
farce.
to do. Yeah.
Minnesota's coming in. Penn State is a 4-point favorite. Minnesota, Tanner Morgan got taken off the field against Illinois last week. So I feel like Penn State gets back in this game. I don't know. I still don't know how much I believe in them after what I saw last week because, Minnesota is going to try to be physical with them. And we watched Michigan have very little problem running on them.
So this is one of the more interesting stats. It's that Penn State tends to have the first loss of the season snowball into a second. So that has happened, I think, 4 of the last 5 years.
Oh boy.
And so that's
a good stat.
One of those Dave Revson stats.
Actually, I think it's an Audrey Snyder special.
Oh, nice.
Audrey's all over this. So that gives me some hesitation. But yes, the Tanner Morgan injury is significant. Minnesota, there was a massive drop-off when he comes out of the game. Even though he hadn't played well in their losses and has some interceptions, I mean, it's totally different. I think Penn State has to do this. We were talking about like kind of must-win games for teams that are that have these like long 10-year contracts with their coaches, right? And like you could just kind of be frustrated, but you can't really do anything about it. And it feels that way about Penn State because we come out of these games against Ohio State and Michigan talking about the gap that still exists. And you had James Franklin talking about the body sizes and the type of player that, he wants on the defense.
Kind of throwing his team under the bus.
Well, that was weird. Right? It's like you've been recruiting these guys. Like you wanted a different body type.
That's on him.
Yeah. So, again, I think things are very uncomfortable and frustrated in State College. I think Penn State has to win. Minnesota quarterback health, big deal. So I'm going to take the Nittany Lions, but I actually really don't feel good about this at all. I wouldn't actually bet on this game because
taking them under protest. Understandable.
Under protest.
I'm just not going to take this game at all. I don't think we should watch it unless there's an adult present.
We have
unless
to watch
unless there's 9 overtimes, like
an
Illinois,
adult
Penn
present.
State last
Well,
year.
no children should be watching it.
Yes. All right. Let's go to one more. This one's available exclusively on Peacock, everybody.
I'll let you take this one, Nicole. How about that?
UNLV is a 26.5-point dog at Notre Dame. UNLV is 4-3, but have been smoked by San Jose State and Air Force in the last couple of weeks. But Notre Dame just lost to Stanford. I repeat, Notre Dame just lost to Stanford.
Okay, so can we defer? Can we ask Chris Vanini about this one again?
Yes.
UNLV plus 26.5 points. Notre Dame.
And a half.
Do you buy UNLV?
I don't buy UNLV.
He said he does not buy them.
But I don't buy Notre Dame.
But he also doesn't buy Notre Dame.
This is
a tough one.
It's an icky line. It's so many points, and Notre Dame. I mean, like Notre Dame against North Carolina looks fantastic, but
they should be able to run. I was watching the App State game on Thursday night on Wednesday night because I'm a sicko.
Yeah.
And Georgia State went up 14-0 really fast. And then App State found out that that Georgia State couldn't stop them from running the ball, and they did that thing that we do in Madden, where they run a variation of one of the 3 same plays over and over and over again, and we're getting 7 or 8 yards per play. And then they ended up winning 42-17. And I'm wondering, can Notre Dame not line up in the I formation and hand it off to a running back and get 6 yards of carry on this team?
One would hope, but will Tommy Rees do that?
I don't think that they can.
I texted you about
what happened to them. Why are they in a position where they have the talent to do that?
I mean, Andy, what would you say top 3 things? I mean, you're right about Tommy Rees. I mean, I think the way that he's called these games, I think quarterback play has been a limiting factor. I think it's bad when your best player is the tight end and he's the only player. Like, he cannot be your only offense. He cannot be 100% of your offense. That's not how it works.
I mean, that happened at Iowa.
Well, and you talked about the Appalachian State Georgia State game. So Appalachian State ran for 404 yards in that game, and it's like a game I texted Ari about earlier this week because I was trying to remember what was the game that Ryan Day forgot for 2.5 quarters that he could just hand off.
Oh,
and it was the 2020 Big Ten championship against Northwestern.
Yes.
Yep. Like, I don't understand when coaches can't see this. Like, we are physically superior to this team. They could put 11 in the box and we could still run the ball. So let's just do that and get the hell out of here.
Yes.
I'd volunteer to cover this game if it was an away game for Notre Dame.
They were just in
Shocking.
Vegas 2 weeks ago.
I know you should have gone to that one.
I just those uniforms were so ugly. I didn't want my face to melt off.
All right. So listen, I am not confident enough to take UNLV because
I know I would go with the Irish too.
but if this is now, here's the
The
question.
fact that this is on the list is just embarrassing.
If this
Let's
game
just
is
be wrong.
close in the third quarter, how many subscriptions does Peacock gain?
How many?
You have the
How
Amex
many-
Platinum, right?
Yes,
You get Peacock for free then.
I already have. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's my question: how many more potential lows are there for the Marcus Freeman first year?
I mean, I don't know if this would be the lowest. loss, right?
After the Stanford game, I'm not sure there's a limit. The limit does not exist.
Because Stanford's a low, Marshall's a low.
Stanford's a Power 5 team at least.
True, but
And
it was their
UNLV
first.
is like
They
2
weren't
years away
playing
from
like
getting
one.
Doors blown off.
It was
every
also their
week.
first win against an FBS team in like 13 games,
Yeah, I
right?
don't know.
I mean, it's been bad. It's been bad. That's one where it's like, could you just end the season today? I think you'd take it.
Just wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Notre Dame, run the ball every time. Get the hell out of there.
I think Tinder hot adult dating site has a question. But we
Yep,
can just
she
get to
found
that.
us. She's back in the chat
Every-
section for the live
Every
YouTube.
time. Every
It's
episode
me,
now.
I think it's me. I'm a Tinder hot at best adult dating site.
Well, listen, you were one, Ari, who in your single days did a lot of work on those
I had
sites,
a I did the running man. You know what that is? Where you just kind of go like this
Swipe
with the screen
to
and
swipe.
right? Yeah.
I've had male friends who've done that. I mean,
Yeah.
we are recording this on Ari's laptop, so it also found Ari's laptop specifically.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this is why I have not set up the company computer yet. Okay.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. Tell Bill Hancock and Greg Sankey and Kevin
kidding.
Warren I say hi. Nicole, I believe we're going to time travel with you. If you're listening to this as a podcast listener, you're probably going to hear Nicole at the front of this show explaining what the heck happened in this CFP meeting. So you've already heard her, and then you're going to hear her with cottage cheese again, and it's going to be amazing. So
Yeah, it's been a big day.
Do you want to take this to
Nope,
go? Or you good?
absolutely
Do you have a
not.
fridge in your room?
Absolutely not. Nope, that can go straight back to the Wasserman household.
it's a catabolic food. It takes more to burn than it does to. Well, I'm doing
that
it all
true?
wrong, but you're supposed to eat it. It's good for you.
I don't know. That's like a
That
cucumber.
can't be
I'll
true.
take
If
a
you eat,
cucumber.
if I ate this whole thing,
No.
it's 90 calories for 6 servings, which means that's like
Please don't.
540
I think
calories,
you'd
right?
pop.
So if
You
it's
look like
540 calories, would it take more than 540
chew
calories for
the-
my body to burn it?
Probably because you chew all the gross little like cheese.
So basically, in
Pasteurized
theory, if you were
curd
starving to death
curdling.
and you ate cottage cheese, you would still die.
probably, but I think you'd also explode if you ate that entire package. So
Please don't.
I like
Please
cottage
don't.
cheese. Okay, well, sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. Thanks for
Ari's going to
sticking with us.
punish himself by eating an entire carton of cottage cheese.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this baby to go. I'm gonna put a belt on the front seat, make sure it doesn't spill, and we'll get it back home.
It's been a pleasure, and we will talk to you after the games.